Alright, I debated whether I was going to make this video or not. This is a video on what I packed to go elk hunting in Colorado. And specifically, it's the 2018 elk season. I'm going out for the first rifle season outside of Newcastle, Colorado, which is just outside of Glenwood Springs. And Newcastle, Colorado is about 7,000 feet, but we'll be hunting at around 95 to 10,000 feet, in that range right there. And this first part of the video is going to be about the gear I took. And last time I just kind of showed the gear that I took back in 2016, but I'm going to kind of go through more detail and explain all the different things. Now, the season starts on the 13th, which is Saturday, and it runs through Wednesday. And I am going to fly out there on the 11th of October. And we're going to fly into Denver on the morning of the 11th. And we're going to go to Newcastle that day at 7,000. We'll go up and set camp. And then on Friday, we'll go back up there and scout and spend the night up there. But I'm getting there a day early and going to spend a day at 7,000 versus 9,000. Because in 2016, I went straight up to 10,000. And I found that I was laying in bed at night and my body would just gasp for air. And even though I was in pretty good shape, swimming competitively, master's program, that going from 240 feet at Maryland up to 10,000, my body did not take it. So this time I put in an extra day to try and adjust to the altitude. So let's get started with some stuff that I got here. So this is a 5mm plastic bag. This is probably going to go in my day pack. And if I get something, I can put it in that bag and strap it and take the first load out with that. Now, it's not as good as some of the bags that you see out there commercially, but it doesn't cost $59 either. So here we have my Silva compass. I like the Silva compass. You know, once you really know how to use the Silva compass, they're pretty good. They're pretty handy. I'm also taking my Rhino GPS, and this Rhino GPS is the Rhino 120, so it's an older Garmin model, but it can give me a mark on where I have an elk down. And in 2016, we had an elk down at night, and so I mean, we marked where it was. It was still hard to find it when we came back, so that's pretty handy, which also leads me to these things. If you get an elk in the woods at night and you got to come out, you better leave some kind of a trail to get back in. And in particular, it snowed on us, so we had came out at night and we went back in the next morning, and it had snowed, so there were no tracks, and things look different at night than they do in the day. So these kind of help mark the way. This is a Boker knife that I'm taking. This particular Boker knife, it has interchangeable blades. So it's a folder, it's a hunter, it's a pretty decent knife. I used it in 2016. It's got a gutting and a skinning blade, and it's got a little saw blade on it too. So it's easy to interchange. It's not too heavy, it's not too big. This goes in my day pack. All of this stuff is going in my day pack. These are the little reflective tacks. I use those also a couple times, and they don't weigh too much, so I take them. This is some little air powder, will give you the wind direction. And then this is my flashlight that I'm going to be taking, and it has a high, low, and everything on it. It runs on a CR123 battery, and it's like 400 lumens on the high power. But I also got this clip, so I can clip this to the bill of my hat and reach up and just press it, and then I get the hands free. Now, that's my backup light. My primary light is this little guy right here. All right, and this is a Coast light. It's a headlight. It's 300 lumens. But the reason I really like this light, I've got 3 or 4 headlights, that are out in the garage. And this is the one I'm taking. It's light. It's one of the brightest ones I have. And it's adjustable. So you can really see it's got power adjustment on the back. And it's got a beam focus. So you can go wide and you can go narrow. And I'm telling you, on the narrow beam, it does a really good job. I mean, and this is in a lighted room. And then it also tilts. So it's also got a tilt on it. So it's got a little tilt button. And so for everything, considering everything, it's really a pretty good deal. I think this light from Coast, they make a number of these versions. I think this one was about $30. But it takes 3 AAA batteries, which are light to carry, so I carry a set of backups. And I've just really liked this light. I've got a stream light out there. I've got this quantum light from Harbor Freight. That's not too bad. And I've got a couple others. But this is the one that I'm going. It's very light, and it'll do the job. And I'm going to put a lighter, a Bic lighter, of course. And this is my 100-mile-an-hour tape, or duct tape. So I'm taking a roll of that. I always carry a roll of that. And I will take my standard trusty Swiss Champ knife. Now, it's in a Gerber case, but I have been carrying a Swiss Champ Army knife around forever. And they're just so dang versatile. And I use them all the time. So that's for certain coming with me in my backpack. This orange right here is going to be on my backpack in Colorado. You have to have it. And I've sewn a little piece of Velcro to the top of my backpack. So I Velcro this to the top. This gets tied off to the loops on the bottom, and then I just take the Velcro off when I need to get in and put it back on. But in Colorado, if you're wearing a backpack, you have to have orange on your backpack. And then I've got my 550 cord here. I'm taking 2 strands of that, and I'm taking a webbing too. So the webbing adds some versatility. If you have to drag something, it's much nicer than a rope cutting into your shoulder to have some webbing strap to go in there. And then I've got some medium weight gloves here, and I've got some liners, and I got a thin face mask that helps around the neck and stuff. And then some wipes and some tissues. So definitely going into day pack with those. And then here's some nitrile gloves, right? So we'll want those if we get anything. And toe warmers. So I got 2 sets of boots. One's a warm weather boot and one's a cold weather boot. And we'll look at them later. But I am getting older, and the toe warmers help me go and sit longer. And so I'm going to bring them. And usually if it gets down below 30 degrees and I have to sit, I will use the toe warmers. And I like these because they have the little adhesive to them, and it sticks to your toes where you need it. And then I've got a little bug repellent here in case by chance we run into some bugs. I'll have my emergency space blanket in my backpack. And then, of course, I'll have my elk hunting license. And then I'll have my map case with my maps in it. And I'll talk a little bit more about the maps later on. But this is a waterproof map case in case I need it, you know. And I might, because the weather forecast is the low is supposed to be 21 at night, and the high is only going to be 55, and we're going to have rain on several of the days for the 10-day forecast, and particularly on opening day. But rain at 7,000 will maybe be snow at 10, so we'll have to see on that. And then this is a thermos cooler that will be in my backpack, and that's my hot liquids. So I'll put coffee or a soup in there, and it'll be hot. And a lot of times if it's cold out and I'm sitting down, besides my little toe warmers, sometimes I'll have some hot coffee or something. I got some sucrets. Really what's in there is some different stuff. I got some Ricolas in there, some cough drops, some Halls. Anyway, just some thing that my throat gets sore to suck on that. Now this is my day pack here, and this pack is a Camelback. I've had this for a long time. It's got a number of pouches in it. It's got a big pouch in there. In the back it's got a compartment for the hydration system, and this is the hydration system that I'll use. I've got this wide mouth Camelback hydration system, and there's a number of things that's kind of nice about that. Usually it's sitting on your back, so it doesn't get super cold. It won't freeze on you, like if you had a canteen out on the side sometimes. Although you could say something, it's got an insulated covered hose, but still that can be run inside too. And that's going to come out here. The other thing, right here on the top, we've got the Velcro piece where my reflective or fluorescent orange will go. These are tie-down straps if I need it. And one of the nice things about this Camelback, it's got a good chest strap on it. The shoulder straps are pretty good on it. It's got a decent back pad that's removable, and it's got a waist strap. And you can see this is a pretty decent waist strap. Well, maybe you can't, but it's a pretty decent waist strap. And in fact, in 2016, I carried a quarter of an elk out, tied off to the rucksack or to my backpack and in a plastic bag. So it worked, and I'm going to go with that again. So this is my fluorescent orange. I've got a zip-up fluorescent orange vest here that's a large to go over my stuff. It's got a couple pockets with snap closures on them. I got a nice build orange hat here, which is nice. And if it gets cold, I can just throw this hat over that baseball cap, and it's pretty good. And I'm just going to take a minute here. This is a reversible hat, and it is made by Huntworth. And I'm just going to give a note out. I got this hat a couple years ago at Walmart for like, $7 or $8, and I really like it. It comes down over the ears nice. It's not too heavy. It really does a good job. It's reversible, and it's going with me. And some of the other things I got. So I got a first aid kit here, and this is I'm going to just take a minute and open this. So I'm going to put this on pause. All right, so I got it open. So I've got some major things in here. So I'm going hunting, and I'm thinking, okay, gunshot wound, probably the worst case scenario. What are we going to need if we got a gunshot wound? And off the bat, so I was in the military, and I've got this one-hand tourniquet. Now, nobody ever wants to do that, but if you had to put a tourniquet on yourself, you might be putting it on part of an arm that's gone. So I got this one-hand tourniquet that I'm taking. And then, of course, if you find somebody else, we've got a large bandage here for some type of a stomach wound, and another large bandage for like a large flesh wound or something like that, where your goal is going to be to stop the bleeding and prevent dirt and stuff from getting in there until you can get them out. And then cold pack, some band-aids, some other stuff in there, some antiseptic wipes, got some moleskin. All this stuff I probably won't take all this in my day pack, but I'll certainly take some of it in there. I may download and get a little smaller one to carry with me. All right, so let me pause this and put all that back in. All right, so we got some other stuff here, and the obligatory, the battery charger, right? So the portable power that's going. I got my adapter for my cell phone and stuff like that, because I will be spending at least one day sleeping in Newcastle. And then extra batteries to power stuff. I've got these GPS that's going on there in the headlight. And then I picked this up. If I have the weight allowance, I will probably bring this Best Gun tool, it's called. And it's pretty decent, and it could probably handle a lot of emergency field repairs that might need to be done with scopes or something like that if we were out there. But speaking of the weight allowance, so I have to try and cut down on weight. So I'm flying on Southwest. I get 2 bags. One of my bags is right there. That's my gun. The other bag is that backpack that's sitting over there. And on Southwest, you got to be under 50 pounds. So I got to get under 50 pounds for my bag that's going with me. I'm going to try and take this knife if I have enough weight, these binoculars, some Bushnell 8x25, so those will go in my pack. My gun cleaning kit will go with me. I'm in my 50s. I've got my reading glasses, and I'll take an extra pair of those in a case with me. And I've got 2 other little Motorola talkabout radios that I may bring depending on weight allowance. Just depends. And then, I'll have a little notebook with some stuff in that. Any plane tickets, any of that kind of stuff that I need, I'll carry in my little notebook. And so that is pretty much most of the stuff that's going to go in my day pack. Now we switched over to the other side, and these are my Matterhorn boots. These are my cold weather boots for this trip. They're Matterhorns. They're all leather. They got pretty decent soles on them. They're insulated. These boots, I found, for me, are probably good down to about 20 degrees if I'm wearing toe warmers and sitting. And I've got them all done up now with some snow seal that I put on there. And those are going to be my snow boots, cold weather boots. And right here I have a 20-degree North Face mummy bag. Right here I have a Climate sleeping pad with a insulation factor of 4.4. We'll probably be sleeping on cots in a pole tent that we set up there, a canvas pole tent. But I need the extra cushion and the extra warmth probably, so I've got that. And then here I've got a liner, that sleeping bag liner if I need it, to put inside that. And then in terms of pants, I've got this heavy duty set of canvas. These are Duluth pants. They're Duluth lined insulated pants. And if you've ever got the Duluth heavy duty fire hose pants, you'll know that these are pretty tough, and these ones are lined. So I'm good sitting at 20 degrees in these pants. And then I've got some lightweight pants for the days if it's like, in the 50s. And then another set of medium weight pants. So I got 3 sets of pants there. And then I got 3 tops that I'm bringing with me. One of them's my old BDU top, and then a couple of other tops. My mainstay, so I've got a couple extra pair of socks here. I've got some neck gaiters here, my black watch cap, kind of a ski cap that covers my ears if it gets really cold. I've got my back belt, so I've historically had back issues, so I am bringing a back belt with me if I need it. But this is my mainstay here, and my mainstay here is basically 5, this times 5, which is set of wool socks, upper polypropylene thermal type underwear, and a set of lowers. I got this times 5 in that compression sack right there. And then I've got this heavy duty set of polypropylene top and a bottom, and that's if it gets really cold. And then another compression bag that I'm going to put that in. And then this stuff over here is kind of my wet snow gear, so it's waterproof. and it's a light waterproof outer shell, and the same for pants. A waterproof outer pants end up in my shoulder pack. And so all of this stuff is going to get packed up and put in here. All right, and this is an older backpack, but it's pretty big, and it all fit in there. It all fit in there last time I went, so hopefully it'll all get in there this time. But last time I flew a different airline, and I had a 65-pound weight limit, so I got to cut down to 50 this time. So this kit here is kind of the med kit, so I'm going to put this on pause for a sec. All right, so I actually have a separate checklist for everything that goes in here, but I'm just going to kind of thumb through here and go through this. So I got acetaminophen or Tylenol, I've got Motrin, I've got a little sewing kit in there, I have a bunch of Band-Aids in there, I have some Sudafed, some allergy tablets in there, Benadryl, and I also have Zyrtec, and I've got the anti-diarrhea, I've got the Rolaids, I've got a couple things for my back, as I mentioned before, so I've got some heavy-duty Motrins in there, I have some cyclobenzaprine or Flexeril, I even found this handy-duty little tooth repair kit, so it's in case you lose a filling or something like that. And then there's some Vaseline, Neosporin, hydrocortisone, toothpaste, some deodorant, sunscreen, quite a bit of stuff. A washcloth is in there, a little mini packed up washcloth. A lot of this stuff I got at the dollar store, actually, when I was building this kind of kit. Some more wipes. I got some tape down in there, Vaseline. So it's a some floss. So it's a pretty decent kit. And hopefully I won't need to use too much of this stuff. Just a toothbrush and toothpaste. That'd be great. Okay, so this is the rig that I'm going to be hunting with. I want to talk about the case for a while. So on Southwest Airlines, your 62 linear inches is what is considered normal. Anything over that's considered large size or oversized and can be charged an additional oversized fee. On Southwest, I think it was $75 for an oversized thing, as long as it's under 70 pounds or something like that. But this one meets the requirements to be undersized. 2 years ago, the oversized fee was $200, and I couldn't find a case that was not oversized, so I ended up taking the stock off the receiver and putting it in a small case, and then re-zeroing when I got out to Colorado. So this case right here is a Boyd Harness Company H Series case, and it's pretty good. It's really got some good clamps and pressure valve, and it's pretty solid. All right, let me turn this around. So this case has these clamps that turn and lock the case down, and it's got 4 of them. They're made out of metal. They're pretty good. I'm hunting with a Remington Model 700 chambered in 270. And I'm also going to use some folding legs on there, and these are 13 to 23 inch folding legs. Last year I went with some 9 to 13 inch, and they were too short, and I found a lot of times the grass was sticking up in the way and stuff like that. I'd be sitting on the side of a hill. I really couldn't use them because they weren't tall enough. These are tall enough for me to sit on the side of a hill, set it up, and just watch. Now, these ones are Caldwell, and they just barely fit. Now, last year I had a fixed 12-power scope, which really wasn't the ideal setup for me, and I've changed this. I've went with this Leupold, and the Leupold that I bought for this was this Leupold right here. It is a VX3L with the custom dial system on it. And I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, it really was quite a challenge. If you look at the profile, all right, it wraps around the barrel, and I thought because it wrapped around the barrel I could use low mounts, which was not the case. I ended up having to go with medium. Anyway, I put on the covers, the Leupold covers for it, and took it out to the range. I feel pretty good about it. Now, why am I shooting at 270? Just because that's basically the gun that I have. Ideally, I think I'd probably want to try a 308, but 30 years ago when I bought my first hunting rifle, this was the one I bought. My dad had a 270, I went out and bought a 270, and this is what I hunt with. And it works pretty well. I think I'm probably good out to 300 in terms of taking the shot. I felt pretty comfortable with my shooting, and the ballistics on it still has enough foot-pounds at 300 that it should get the job done. And I'm using a 150 grain Winchester 150 grain bullet that I'm shooting on this. And I went and I looked up all the ballistics on the bullet and pulled out down all the velocities and foot-pounds at the different ranges. So I feel pretty comfortable out to 300, and probably not going to go anything beyond that. So everything fits in this case. It's not oversized, and it should be good. It's pretty solid. So if you're looking for something like that, a single gun case, you've been having a hard time, I picked this one up at Bass Pro. It was 120 bucks. All right, that's what's set up, and that pretty much covers all the stuff that I got here. This gear right here, these are my everyday walking boots that I'm going to be hunting in, and this is the gear that I'm going to wear out there. And I'll be using this jacket, fleece jacket, under the rain jacket if it's raining. And this is my standard gear. I'll wear this out there. When I'm done hunting, I'll put this back on and wear it back. So that's the setup. It was pretty long. One last thing to note, I am taking maps. I've got my map set up right here, and I want to take a minute and just talk for a minute on the maps. Let me put this on pause. All right, so this is the map. I'm an old Army guy, and I like maps. I like maps because I can get the whole picture of what's going on. And for this hunt, this is public land hunt, and we've kind of followed the tried and true. Find the area where there's no roads, and find the steepest, toughest terrain you can find. And so that is what I've done. Now, how do you do that? Well, one technique you can do, just a minute. So, getting back to how do you find out where the place is. So, I mark out all the roads in red ink, and then I look for somewhere where there's no red ink. And then you look for contour lines, and you look for the steepest contour lines you can find in the spots that there's no roads. That'll be the places that people don't want to go. And so far, it's pretty much worked. So we'll see. But I like the maps. I'm taking maps with me. I'm a big map guy, map and compass. GPS is good, but for me, the GPS is a backup. All right, that's it for this video. I know it ran kind of long. Hope you liked it. Picked up something. You can make some comments at the bottom. It is what it is. All right.